Did you know that United States senators are allowed to trade and that some of them outperform the market considerably? However, they have to disclose all of their trades online. Let's take a look at the latest reported trade. James Inhofe sold CRISPR Therapeutics on the 22nd of December. Let's see how he did. He sold it right at the top. Well done, James. In this video, I'm going to show you a couple of easy ways that you can view senators' trades online so that you can investigate this yourself and copy them if you want to. I'll also show you how by copying one random senator, I was able to outperform the S&P by 67%. Before we begin, it might be worth me explaining why I think this could be a viable strategy. Technically, senators are not allowed to inside trade after President Obama signed the Stock Act in 2012. Amazingly, before the Stock Act was signed, senators were freely allowed to use their inside knowledge to benefit themselves from the stock market. Despite the Stock Act, a number of senators were put under fire earlier in 2020 for selling a large portion of their stock portfolio just before the COVID-19 crash. It seems possible that these senators are stepping on the grey line between what is legal and what is not by using their inside knowledge to sell stocks at opportune moments. And by copying their trades, we'll also be able to benefit from their inside knowledge and outperform the market ourselves. I'll start by showing you how to do this, and then I'll move on to my own personal performance later. On the screen right now is the United States Senate Financial Disclosure website. This website is the key to all of this because it's where the senators have to upload the trades they make. And it's pretty easy to use, just follow along. I've put a link to this page both in the comments and the description of this video. On this page, all you'll have to do is agree to the terms and conditions on the right hand side of the page. You're now on the Find Reports page, which is a search engine for the Senate financial disclosures. At the top, you can see the filer name. This is where you put the name of the senator that you're interested in. In the filer type, I don't normally fill this in, but go ahead if you want to. For report types, you'll want to click on periodic transactions, which brings up the trades. And then date filed or received for the dates that you're interested in. Once you're comfortable with all of your selections, click on the Search Reports button. This will bring up a listing of all the filings that they've made which meet your criteria. Here we've searched for Pat Roberts, so you can see a list of all the trades made by Pat Roberts in the year. If we click on the top one, we'll be able to see the transactions that were made. You can see the asset in the middle, the date on the left-hand side, and the amount, and if it was a sale or purchase on the right-hand side. You probably recognize a lot of these names like Apple, Tesla, Walmart, Best Buy. Generally well-performing stocks. So what's the catch? Well, unfortunately there are a few. The first is that there's a delay between when a senator makes a trade and when it will be uploaded onto that online system for you to be able to see. This means making day trades based on this information is almost impossible, and it's only really useful for making long-term decisions. The second is that when a senator invests into a blind trust or fund, aka a trust or fund where they don't know what the investments are made into and they don't have any influence over it, they don't have to report it. And this is becoming increasingly common since the scandals over the past few years where senators have been accused of inside trading. And the third and final flaw is that the site's just a real pain to use. However, for this one I have another site. Check out SenateStockWatchers.com. I'll put again a link in the comments and description and I'll run you through it now. Senate Stock Watcher is a presentational tool that gives you better insight into what senators have traded without having to go through that ugly website I showed you earlier. On the front page, you'll be able to see the number of transactions for a particular day, the number of senators who traded that day, the tickers they traded, and the actual trades. You can then go through the menus on the left and select stuff like Custom Summary to pick a custom date range. For example, you could look at all the trades made in January, February, or any date range that you chose. Here you'll be able to see a summary of all the tickers traded on that day, the senators that traded them, and a number of condensed pie charts above that. After this, we'll move to the Ticker Trends tab. On here, you'll be able to pick an individual ticker, e.g. Apple, and you'll be able to see all the senators that have traded it if they've been buying or selling. This is very useful if you just want to look at one individual stock. The final useful tab is the Senator Metrics tab. Here you'll be able to filter by an individual senator and you'll be able to see all the trades they've made, what they're currently buying, what they're currently selling, all this sort of information if you think a certain senator is going to be better than the others. You can also download all the raw data if you want to do some data manipulation. Okay, let's talk about how it worked for me. I set up a plan in which I'd copy one senator's trades for the entirety of 2020. However, I would only copy their buy trades and I would not action any sell trades they made. The reason for this is that I didn't want to get into the habit of buying and selling when there is that 2 to 4 week delay between when they make the trade and when it's uploaded. Because of this, I couldn't time their peaks and troughs exactly. However, if they were investing into solid companies that were going to outperform the market, by copying them, I would also be able to outperform the market. The senator I settled on was Pat Roberts of Kansas. I did this by going through the financial disclosures and updating an Excel sheet with every investment he made. This meant in January I was invested into Amazon, Netflix, and Alibaba. Amazon gave me a 68% return, Netflix a 56% return, and Alibaba actually gave me a small loss. But one point was still playing on my head. Could I have made more by investing into the S&P 500? Yes, I'd made fantastic returns, but so had everybody who had invested in January, February, March. So what I came up with was this. What I came up with is a spreadsheet in which I listed all the purchases that Pat Roberts made in the year. I then calculated the percent return and the absolute return from his investments, and I compared them to someone who had invested the exact same amount on the exact same day, but instead of going into the stocks that he invested into the S&P 500. I found that all of Pat Roberts' trades returned about $725,000. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 would have returned you about $430,000 in that period. The difference between those two figures is 1.675, aka 67/68%. That sums up everything in this video about senators investing. It's definitely interesting and potentially a unique way to outperform the market. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit that subscribe button because more finance videos are coming soon.